questions, but they're asking about the Jags running game. So let's start there.
Okay.
Marcus asked this. He says, Carolina's run defense was not good last year. They made some offseason changes. Did they do enough to keep the Jags' run-centric offense from having a big day? Joshua added, how awesome is it going to be when Travis Etienne quiets his haters after running wild on the Panthers? So somewhere in the middle, there's a question there, Logs. How do you like the Jags' running game matchup against the Carolina Panther run defense?
Well, I mean, I do, just because, I mean, if you look on paper, which is kind of all you're going off of, I mean, you look last year, what Carolina gave up nearly, like almost, 200 yards a game rushing or something. It was just ridiculous. And I think a big part of that was the ineffectiveness of their passing game. A lot of times when you're playing a team that doesn't score a lot of points, you have a tendency to be, as a play caller, to be a little bit more conservative because you know that the opponent's not going to score a lot of points. You're going to be a little bit more willing to run the ball, keep it tight to the vest, not make a mistake against a team that really wasn't, showing that they could win a lot of games last year in the Carolina Panthers. It'll be interesting to watch and see if Liam Cohn kind of goes with the same approach this year that teams took last year against Carolina because of the lack of points that they scored. The defense wasn't very good at stopping the run last year, and the Jaguars having a plethora of backs to choose from at any given time. So I think that's a really good question. I think the Jaguars will be committed to running the football. I think Etienne will be excited to play in this game because his brother's on the other side, and anytime that brothers get into competition, I mean, I think the level gets a little bit amped up, and you want to show that, hey, big brother's better. And so and Etienne, I think, is going to get the first kind of opportunity in this game, and the first opportunity out of that running back room.
How do you expect them to use, as you just said, Etienne, you expect to be the starter? It sounds like for this weekend's game, we've had the questions throughout the entire offseason about how they're going to use the backs that they have here in Jacksonville with the four. Do you expect all four to be active on Sunday against Carolina? And how do you expect them to use the backs behind Etienne?
I think that's a great question, Tony, because typically you only see teams have three backs elevated. And the Jaguars have four backs that I think are quality. You got to remember, too, that the Jaguars have a little bit of a luxury because of Travis Hunter as a wide receiver gives you kind of an extra position to activate, so to speak, on one side of the ball or the other. Will they utilize that extra spot as maybe a running back? Because the reality is that Quinn Allen Jr. and Bashal Tutin are really good special teams players. They're very willing and they got speed, and so far that I've seen in the preseason, I think both of them do a pretty good job. But I think the very first game, I think the coach is a little bit more willing to trust veterans in the first game, especially in a game that you feel like that it's not going to take a lot of points to win that game. So you go with the guys that have a little bit more track record that you can trust, and that would be Etienne and Bigsby. And then you kind of see where everybody's at. You can get a handoff here or there to Bashal Tutin if he takes advantage of it and starts to look good and shows that he can hold on to the ball, and the Quinn Allen maybe gets a few reps here and there. Maybe he ends up getting more snaps as a third down back. But, I mean, that's going to be a very interesting situation. And my expectation, though, is that LaQuint Allen Jr. may end up being inactive, and then you'll utilize that extra spot or that gifted spot from Travis Hunter elsewhere in the equation.
Very interesting, man. I'm still not sure. I just believe Etienne will be up, and I'm not 100% sure that, you know what I mean? Like, I think it could be any of the other guys, but you make a good point, I think, about the veterans logs. Early on, you may prefer to lean on them. But, man, if LaQuint Allen is your best pass protector, and that's kind of what we've been hearing, it would not surprise me at all to see him get a jersey on Sunday. What about you?
Well, Etienne's no slouch now in pass protection. LaQuint Allen Jr. that just does it with a little bit more robustness. He goes after guys and is not just trying to get the block; he's trying to knock the block off, so to speak. So a little bit more excitement there when you watch the film of LaQuint Allen Jr. in pass protection. But look, Travis Etienne Jr. is a very good back in protection as well.
Hey, let me ask you your opinion, if you have one that's formed about this, because granted, it's the offseason. They haven't played real games that count. Will this offensive line be a better pass blocking or run blocking unit, and why, in your opinion?
I think they will, just because the only thing that I have to go on, Mike, is the preseason. And when they played in the preseason, I thought that group was really good. When I say really good in pass protection. Now, we got to understand that there's a lot of guys that weren't playing on the other side of the ball in those situations. But I thought that the spacing, the way that they played together, the amount of snaps that they played together in practice and in training camp, I think has been very beneficial. The finish of the offensive line, if you compare just what, sample size that we have right now, you compare it to last year, it's not even close. And I'm talking not even close. It's dramatic to me, the way that this offensive line finishes compared to the offensive line of last year. And we're not talking about that vastly different of a group. A lot of the personnel is the same, but it just goes to show you that coaching matters.
Okay, but I'm asking you, what's going to be the greater strength? Will it be pass blocking? Will it be run blocking?
I think that both are going to be pretty good. And is one going to be better than the other? I would probably say the run blocking, because I think run blocking a lot of time is attitude and commitment and how talented your backs are. And I think that the attitude and the commitment is there. I think the talent in your running back room is absolutely there. And pass protection is a little different. Look, you're getting ready to face some really good pass rushers coming up. Not that Carolina has a load of great pass rushers, but I think eventually you're going to see some real talent at that position. And we'll see how they end up doing, but I think the running game will be a little bit better than the pass protection to begin with.
Logs, we know offensive line and improving that group was among the biggest issues, the priorities they had going into the offseason. They've done what they've done in that area. As we go into the regular season now, what in your mind is the biggest area of concern for the football team heading into the regular season?
As a whole team?
Yes.
Oof. I think, Tony, look, I'm going to go back to last year, and this defense was terrible. Terrible. And we're all quick to say, oh, it's the coaching. The coaching was terrible, the worst coaching job in Jaguars history. And I was in that belief as well. But, look, until they show in a regular season game that they've overcome what they were last year, that's going to be an area of concern for me. Last year, this defense had a lot of mental errors. It allowed the most explosive plays in the National Football League. It had one of the fewest takeaways by a team in the National Football League. To me, it's the defense. And, to go to the first preseason game, there was an issue against the Pittsburgh Steelers about getting, quote-unquote, cleats in the ground. And, getting lined up and communicating and all of that, where they kind of actually went back to Pop Warner League coaching, I guess. The coaches talked about that, to where they started to, going through the mechanics of getting the call in faster, getting lined up faster, communicating with each other faster, and it seemed like that they got that fixed in preseason game 2 and then also in Miami. But the reality is, until you see it in a regular season game and when it counts, the last thing that we have to go on from a regular season game is what we saw last year. So for me, Tony, it's the defense.
What's up, everybody? Fat Tony here. Thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube. Before you go away, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and be sure to check out our other team-specific channels on 1010XL's network on YouTube.